All right, we are ready, folks. My name again is Ashen Prime. We are going to throw over to TheCowness running Dragon Quest Builders. Cowness, take it away.
All right, so I'm TheCowness. This is going to be a Dragon Quest Builders 2 speedrun. Before we start, we had 2 donation incentives that I need the results of here, starting with the character's name and followed by the chapter we're going to play.
All right, starting with the name of the character. Winning that bid war with $75 is Maribel.
All right.
Nice.
It's a reference to all the Dragon Quest 7 speedrunning I've done in the last year and a half. What about the chapter?
And the chapter with a $50 total in the bid war is Chapter 2.
All right.
The one you've been waiting for. And on commentary here, I am haktical, by the way.
Okay, so time's going to start here as soon as I click from the beginning. So I'll count down. 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's do it.
All right. So as I kind of covered in the interview, if anyone's not familiar with Dragon Quest Builders, you can kind of already tell just from the graphical style. It's kind of Minecraft meets Dragon Quest here. So the objective of each of these chapters is to build up a town that was destroyed after the bad ending of Dragon Quest 1 and bring the spark of creation back to everybody. And we're starting here in Rimuldar. So this is the town that was in the southeast corner of the map. It was surrounded by water, but you can see it's now surrounded by swamp. So all the inhabitants here are sick with various status conditions, and we're going to have to come up with remedies for these status ailments and build a hospital and get everybody feeling better again. So, I'm going to just start off here collecting a bunch of materials. We're going to go through cycles in this game of collecting a bunch of materials, running to town, handing in a bunch of quests with the materials we collected. I need a bunch of these trees, the broken sticks for this chapter in particular. I need to collect 60 of them. So yeah, right now I'm going to be heading over to collect a downed person over on the other side of the map, collecting a big list of groceries along the way.
There's about 8 or 9 different items right now that Countess is looking for. They all have very different quantities that he needs, so some of them are going to be used sort of immediately, some of them are going to be used a little bit later, and it kind of is convenient to get as many as possible while traveling where he needs to go. It's also worth talking about the map a little bit. So the map is randomly generated. There are some kind of predefined features of the map that are programmed in, but things like vertical height and some specific resource placement are definitely random. So there are going to be times where Countess might have a general idea of where to go, but might not know which specific cave or which specific tile is needed for what he's looking for. So
yeah, one resource in particular that can sometimes be difficult to find are these pink petals I'm picking up. I need 7 of them, and I've only found 5 so far. So right now I'm just kind of hoping that there are some near the base. That's the other place they commonly spawn. If not, I'll pick them up a little late. It'll not too much of a time loss, but it's just kind of RNG. But yeah, right now I need 60 of these broken branches, so I'm knocking down these trees, trying to, if I can, hit something else at the same time. The little sticks give me 1, the trees give me 2. Now,
and a couple things that'll come up a lot throughout this is inventory management, how many different items he has in his active inventory, and there are some cases where the number of resources he's looking for can be pretty precise in that there can be an adverse effect if he collects too many, both due to inventory and due to some crafting menuing, which we'll talk a little bit about once we get to the actual crafting portion. But so some of these numbers are, just as many as you happen to get, and some of them are wanting to get sort of an exact number of something.
Yeah, and you also probably saw that I was switching between my hammer and my club a little bit. You can see underneath the hammer that there's a durability bar there, and I'm actually in danger of breaking my hammer if I use it to hit everything. So anytime that I'm collecting something off the ground that the club can damage, I'll switch to it in this early part here. For the marathon, I might make an extra hammer just to avoid it breaking on me, but normally in a PB attempt, like the durability on that hammer comes down to the wire. If you hit, it takes 450 hits to break a weapon or a hammer, And in chapters 1 and 3 in particular, it becomes very close if you don't make an extra.
And so one thing that TheCowness is doing here, you can see as he goes to this swamp, is he's jumping at certain points, and that's to reduce the amount of damage he's taking from the swamp. If you jump right as the number fades out, then you kind of get a little bit of extra distance before you take extra damage from the swamp tiles.
Yeah, it's kind of a balancing act where the more you jump, the more damage you take, because every time you jump and land in the swamp, you take another point of damage. But if you just walk without jumping, that's the slowest movement. So I usually jump right as the number is fading away, and that's a good balance between speed and safety. And you might see in a minute, depending on what my health is, when I'm going through swamp, I may jump more if I'm not caring about my health at the moment. Like right now, I'm probably going to do that to get through here a little faster.
Yeah, and so TheCowness also has now discovered the base of the chapter. So you kind of plant the flag, you set up your home base, and that's going to be the town that he's building up throughout the chapter. Every chapter has one main town that you're building up, and that's kind of the only place that you can build rooms and contribute towards your base. It's going to be the hub for getting quests and progressing the story. It's going to be the hub for many of the battles that'll take place in this chapter. It's going to be the return point when you use Chimera wings, etc.
Getting sniped by these wyverns.
Yeah, some enemies are really difficult to deal with, and this is a good example, like I was talking about earlier, where the terrain is the specific features of the terrain is randomly generated, particularly in terms of the height. So when you're kind of approaching an area like a wall, TheCowness is really looking for where are natural staircases built into the wall, where is ivy placed, where might he need to place some dirt in order to elevator himself up. I'm sure we'll see some of that later, but being able to like kind of efficiently climb up a mountain, especially if you're dodging enemies and collecting resources, is definitely a recurring theme for these chapters.
So I'm almost to my destination here, but there's a couple more items I need to grab. These butter beans. Need a couple more of one more of the herb leaves. 2 more cotton. One more of these over here. But so at the start of this chapter, the first thing we're really going to do is talk to this guy, Gerontius, who he's out here just mourning the death of somebody. He doesn't really want to talk to us right at the moment about it. So we're going to talk to him. He's disappointed because he's got 5 graves here and only 4 gravestones. So talk to him, and we're going to be inspired with a recipe for creating another memorial for him. Let's see here.
So it's also sort of a recurring mechanic of all these chapters, is that the quests that you get throughout the chapter will inspire you to be able to create certain recipes, and they're often pretty unique to each chapter. So every chapter's got their own set of things that you'll be inspired to craft.
Yeah. So you might notice inventory space is real tight right here with what I'm building right now. A lot of these materials or things I'm making, I don't have any room for. I'm just, but I use up the material, which clears a spot, and then the item I craft goes right in there. So barely enough inventory space to make it through here. That in there, the frog stools, and we'll keep the rest.
Yeah, so TheCowness is now dumping extra resources into that chest. The chests, you can use them for crafting. Anything you put in, any resource you put in there, you can use for crafting, even if you don't have direct access to the chest. So he can kind of just leave that wherever is convenient with extra resources and still have access to whatever he puts in there.
Wooden memorial, wash tub, and then 2 potted plants, right? No, only 1. I didn't find enough pink petals. That's fine. So we'll swap to the wooden memorial, drop it here, open that chest, talk to him while it opens. Then he'll thank me and decide to join me and come to my town that I'm trying to rebuild. At this point, you're also supposed to have done a couple of side quests with a character named Elle, who's currently hanging out at town waiting for me to recruit her. And she sends you off to find Gerontius. I think he's her grandfather, actually, but we don't find that out till a bit later. I have to be careful walking down this hill because the NPCs do not like taking fall damage. So if I jump down and take fall damage and he can't find a path that he can get down safely, he's just not going to follow me. He also usually will not follow me into the swamp here, but that's fine. As long as he doesn't get so far away from me that he forgets where I am. So I'm going to fight this Droll Defiler. It's actually really nice the rare time he does jump through the swamp after me because he can tank the damage. But this is okay. We're also getting into nighttime here, so I imagine any second now we're going to see a ghost come up and start attacking me. That's just something that happens constantly at night. Makes a lot of boss fights more obnoxious because now instead of one-on-one, you're like one-on-3. Kill him here. Okay, good enough. I think he poisoned me, but that's fine. It wears off on its own. Let's grab a bunch of these strong stalks. Let's grab some of these mushrooms just for safety, because this chapter is pretty tight early on with healing and with food. Okay, and yeah, even though Drontius wasn't directly next to me, he was close enough that he comes with me with the wing. So now let's talk to Elle. So Elle, as you can tell from her outfit, is a nun. She's going to get us started on our kind of main rolling quest through this chapter of building the hospital to treat the people like Casey over there laying on the ground. You're going to see a lot of broken branch rewards early on because you have to build a lot of things that use it as materials. Nope, I do not have room for that. Let's drop this for now. Okay, so this is going to be our first blueprint of the chapter. Gonna have to move these things, but that's fine.
Yeah, so this is sort of an introduction to the building mechanics here, where you have to build up rooms in the base, and a room is kind of defined by these 2-tile high walls, a doorway, and a light source. And in addition to that, Countess is doing a specific blueprint, which is a sort of predefined room. It creates this outline on the ground for you that you can follow, and they're usually used for specific purposes. And there's a few things for this. So obviously this sick room is needed for actually progressing the quest. In addition, rooms contribute points towards your overall base, which increases your base level, which is also going to be useful a little bit later on. And it's building a little bit extra on here.
Yeah, so a glitch I mentioned in the interview was that, so the definition of a room in this game is actually a 3-tile high room, but to make a room you only need walls that are 2 tiles high. So you can stack 2 rooms on top of each other, and the items in the middle will count for double points in your town. Pick up one of these bonfires.
Yeah, there's basically a plane of overlap between them where you can get double points off of some really valuable items, and that again contributes towards your overall base level.
Yeah. It's telling me the room was destroyed because I removed the light source. In addition to 2-tile high walls and 1 door, you need a light source for it to count as a room. Okay, and now that we are done with that, I'm going to quickly turn it into a double room. I need this door for later, so I'm going to grab it. I want this straw mattress on the floor.
Yeah, and sometimes rooms can just be like, if you just put walls up and a light source inside and a door, it can be a basic room, and then depending on the items that are inside will determine what kind of room it is. Certain specialty rooms have certain bonuses, bonus points for your base, and some of them, again, are kind of required to progress the plot. So it can actually get a little bit complicated when you have double rooms where one of them is sort of just contributing as many points as possible, but the other room is contributing like a specific use for the chapter that you're in. And that's what we've got going on here, is that this the sick room is really relevant to the chapter, and the other one's just there for the bonus points.
Should be a pink petal over here. That one's always there. So we mentioned there's randomness to how the world's laid out, but there's a lot of fixed structures, including your town. And you probably saw the 2 little houses that I kind of looted on the way to pick up Casey. Those are fixed as well. But sometimes the world like randomly generates strangely around them. I'll avoid the poison here for a little bit. I'm going to pick up somebody else over here.
Yeah.
This spin attack to get some dirt, because dirt is kind of difficult to get in this chapter because of all the poison. You gotta grab the real dirt when you can, because around my town there's actually only 1 layer of dirt, and then the purple poisonous stuff is underneath. So do that, grab his bonfire and grab him.
Yeah, and even though the poison is doing relatively low damage, only 1 per tick onto Countess, healing is going to end up being, always kind of a factor in these speedruns, because you get relatively limited amounts of healing items, healing cream, or herbs. You can restore your health by using a bed, so Right now, Countess isn't too worried about his HP.
Yeah, with the sun coming up, there aren't going to be any monsters attacking me for a minute, so I apologize for the beeping, but it's faster.
And additionally, Countess will get some life force nuts that can be used to be a full heal as needed. They'll increase your max HP, but they've got a pretty slow animation, so he'll get a couple of those and use them as needed, but kind of not a priority due to that animation.
Okay, let's talk to you. Alright, so L, I believe, has already rewarded me for going to find Grantius out in the wilderness. We're going to talk to him. So his background is that he was kind of a... can I pick up my crafting station? If I did not, that's bad. I might have to go grab that. Alright, well, talk about Grantius while I go get that. So yeah, he was an alchemist working with a buddy to try to help cure the blight that's befallen the land here. And he's kind of reluctant to help, like I said, at first, because his experiments were going wrong. They weren't helping. They were making things worse. We'll learn more about that about halfway through the chapter. But he's got a partner as well that we'll meet when we get to the second teleportal world. But right now I need to go grab my crafting station I forgot, and then we're going to build the thing that he was telling us to build, which is an herbalist cauldron. And that's kind of the main unique crafting station for this chapter. It's going to be what we use to make medicine and recovery items primarily, as well as some specific special items that we need to complete the chapter. Sure enough, there it is. All right. I picked up some junk on the way, didn't I?
Yeah, this is really easy to do. This speedrun, normally if you're playing casually, you tend to put down your crafting stuff in town and you make these nice workshops and everything. But in the speedrun, it's pretty common to just drop your crafting items in the middle of the world somewhere and do some quick crafting to get rid of some resources or clear up inventory or progress some sort of quest that you have. And it's kind of easy to just sort of not realize that you left something in the middle of the world somewhere.
Yeah, I also forgot to grab that clay when I was picking up Nosh, so that was fine. I was probably going to have to leave town to grab that anyway. All right. Luckily, you usually have a surplus of wyvern wings everywhere in these chapters, so not a big deal that I had to use that to get back to town. All right, first thing I'm going to do is craft an herb, followed by the herbalist cauldron, and then a cook fire. And so I need a second pot plant. Okay, so we're going to go in here. We're going to give the herb to Nosh. And I got to be very careful giving these items to the people in bed, because if you're not looking at them the right direction or whatever, you might accidentally use it yourself. So I'd heal myself and I'd have to go get more herb leaves. That's obnoxious. So get some more rewards here. Talk to her until she gives me some white petals. There we go. Place the cook fire down here. I need to pick up this bonfire.
And no nice crafting room. We're just gonna drop all the crafting stuff in the center of town. Don't worry about it.
Not what I meant to do. All right. Talk to her again to get the next quest. She's gonna give me a quest marker. I'm gonna talk to Grantius. He's gonna reward me for the pot I made. I now have extra clay in my inventory because I picked up 6 instead of 5. The start of this chapter is really routed efficiently as regards to my inventory size. So anything extra that I have hanging can clog things up, and I might have to stop and punt them off to the side. Okay.
Yeah, there's an item in this game that's the Colossal Coffer, which will help with extra resource management and giving access to extra resources kind of as needed. But it's an item that you have to craft. Sometimes it's worth crafting, sometimes it's not worth crafting, but it's definitely safer to do so. But I'm not sure if Countess crafts it in this chapter or not, or when. But
just to demonstrate how blueprints work in this game, you can see a full picture of it, but since I know where all the things go, all I really need is the little guideline that it drops on the floor. I don't need to pull that up to finish these. All right. So this is also going to level up my base to level 2, which is important. Throughout the chapter, you're going to need to hit different levels, and they don't really do anything, but it's just a sign of progression that you're building more rooms, putting more objects into your structures, etc.
And also some rooms like that one there you saw when he created it, that it made healing more effective. Certain rooms have certain other kind of side effects onto that chapter's mechanics. They might make NPC weapons stronger or increase healing or, some other sort of global effects.
In fact, the room I just built has a global effect of increasing the strength of all healing items, I think by 25%.
Yep.
So the quest I just turned in was actually for defeating that boss that I beat earlier, the big troll defiler. I gave him the item it dropped, and then we figured out how to make antidote herbs to cure poison. So that's going to be what I need in a second to help get Nosh, or I guess Casey, out of bed. Nosh is already good. Yeah, and this is, again, the main gimmick of this chapter is putting sick patients in bed. They're going to need an item, then you give it to them, you sleep overnight, and then the next day they might need something else. So Casey needs an antidote. And it's always the same items every time, of course, so routing would be quite difficult if there were any randomness to that, especially with all the food they ask for later on. They ask for some pretty ridiculous gourmet meals while they're laying in bed dying.
Stay hungry.
Okay, Gruntius gives me a seed of life here. That's usually the reward you get for getting your base level up. And then after you raise your base level, there's typically a battle after it. So here we're going to have a battle, and then after that we're going to unlock the new area. You'll see this big bird up here. He's going to be the boss of the chapter. Kind of unique to this chapter. He shows up during all the little fights just to call for the monsters you're actually fighting right now, but we won't actually get to him until near the end of this run.
And we all know how much RPG speedrunners love bird enemies.
Oh yeah, that bird in particular. Dragon Quest speedrunners are a huge fan.
We'll see why a little bit later.
Yep, he's got the same spell in this game. Stop that.
So yeah, here's the first combat, and combat in this game it's this weird mix of simplicity but still being really challenging. There aren't a ton of tools that you have to work with. You have basic movement, jumping, your attacks, your spin attacks. NPCs are joining in the fight, but they're actually really difficult to optimize because attacks are pretty hard to read. Again, you don't have a ton of options for what to deal with. NPC attacks can give enemies iframes, which will make your attacks do very low damage. And so combat in this game is actually pretty difficult to do fast. You could also see TheCowness was intentionally trying to hit each of the monsters once at the start of that battle in order to aggro them, to kind of keep them away from the town. That's sort of another factor that'll come up in some of these battles, is that enemies can attack the town and start breaking down walls and ruining your rooms, and then you got to fix everything, and depending on what they break down, you might not remember exactly where things were placed, and it can be a challenge to keep track of all that.
Forgot something. Yeah, and even if there are most enemies can't actually damage your stuff, maybe it's closer to 50-50, but even if they can't damage your walls, if they run off in the middle of town, it's a huge time loss trying to track them down and get them back over here where you can fight them. I'll leave this on the ground, but I will need it later.
And you might break down your own walls trying to stop them.
Yeah, that's a factor too, especially in Chapter 3, because you build cannons in Chapter 3, and if you shoot a monster toward your base and you miss, then you just destroyed your base. All right.
So what we have here is the first teleportal area. So each chapter, in order to kind of gate your progression and keep you from having access to resources and items and quest progress that you shouldn't have, uses these teleportals. So after each of the major battles, typically you'll unlock a new teleportal. There's usually 3 per chapter, and they'll give you access to a new area where you can collect new resources, fight new monsters, and continue on with the next quest. So this is the first teleportal area. This is the blue teleportal. And sometimes they'll need to backtrack and do multiple times in each region. I'm not 100% sure what's needed for this chapter, but yeah, TheCowness is collecting more stuff.
Yep. Yeah, we're getting a lot of wood and stone here, which are the 2 materials we didn't have access to before getting access to this place. So I got a kind of a list to go here. This would actually be a good time to throw it over to the host if you got anything to read off for us.
I absolutely do. We had several donations come in. We have $26 from Running in the 90s, who says, great cause and great stream. We also have $25 from Gramora, who says, can we build a city for all my DQ3 goof-offs? Money to runner's choice.
Maybe in Dragon Quest Builders 3, I mean, that's where the goof-offs are from, right?
Yeah, there you go. We'll have to see how that factors in. Okay, the remaining materials I need 3 more cotton, and I also need to kill 3 of these wolves for their fur. And then we're gonna go to do what the most exciting thing is in any RPG. We'll see in a minute. This grass to my right, I gotta avoid that because if I touch that, it'll paralyze me, which is the most annoying status effect in the whole game. It's a lot like Pokemon paralysis, where just about half the time, a third of the time or so, you'll just lock up and not do anything when you push a button. Meanwhile, the monsters are stomping you.
Yeah, and the paralysis plants are kind of scattered in this area pretty randomly, which means it's really easy to accidentally take a misstep or fall off a ledge or something
down
onto
there.
one.
Some interesting map generation there. You can see down into a cave that's down there. A shortcut. You don't want to go down there, though. Okay, we should be good on materials. Yeah, it's what's most perplexing about the paralysis grass is that there's a monster that drops seed that you can plant to just instantly make it and instantly paralyze yourself. Now you're standing right on top of it.
All right, so over here there's a little fisherman house, and Countess is just going to repair this house real quick. It's kind of run down, taking some damage.
And I'm going to build a little bit of an extra wall here. So yeah, for this is a quest that I would be given after a couple other little quests in town, but repairing this guy's house, he teaches me to make a fishing rod. Fishing in RPGs is always a good time. So we're going to get to
Nice
that
and
in a second.
comfy.
Yeah. So here I'm going to need a sewing station, which is kind of our like blacksmith type item. It's going to be where we make our weapons and armor for the rest of the chapter. We're learning a lot of new recipes, as you can see, because we just got the sewing station. Whoops. Sewing station. And wood as well gives us a lot of new recipes.
So the real question is going to be during the fishing, are we going to get to see every Dragon Quest runner's favorite enemy?
Fairly likely. If not, he'll show up later.
So the fishing has a chance of pulling up a metal slime. And you actually don't want that, because he kind of just runs around and causes chaos.
Oh, I thought you meant the crab. Okay.
No, I meant the metal slime.
And metal slime can actually show up right by the entrance to this area. He's just obnoxious. He shoots fireballs at you from half of the screen away and then runs off. And killing him doesn't really get you anything in this game. He drops an item called Silvery Sludge. I don't even know offhand what you can craft with it. I think in Builders 2, you've actually got experience points, and he gives plenty of experience points. But in this game, this is kind of a lore point, but you are not the legendary hero, you're the legendary builder, and you cannot gain experience points or become stronger. The only way you can really progress is by building better weapons and armor and by using the life force nuts that raise your max HP. And the goddess makes a point to remind you of that like every chapter or so. Yeah, we're fishing up 7 of these sardines. Pretty good luck so far. Slime skin's actually a good pickup because I can make an item that's worth a lot of points out of it. So I'm not upset to see one of those. It's about, I think, a 2/3 chance to find the thing I'm looking for here. So 4 in a row was actually fairly lucky. Just need 2 more to go, and then we do second round of fishing, which is only fishing up 2 fish, but I think it's a 1/3 chance to get those. I actually haven't seen any monsters yet. I think it's a 20% chance to get a monster. Oh, I hit B instead of A. That was probably it, too. Nice, there we go.
Nice luck.
I'm going to set this down for just a second so this goes in there.
It's a really convenient place to put that.
Yeah. He'll keep an eye on it for me. Throw some of the things I don't need in there. And we want to take it with us because it is also worth a lot of points. Jump around here.
It's the colossal coffer I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, it's basically a bag of holding, but you don't have to have it on you. I do have to have it placed on the map. So right now I can't use it, but I'm going to put it in base when I get back to base.
Yeah, and it'll let extra resources go to the coffer, and then he'll have access to, as you said, it's basically a bag of holding, so he'll have access to those resources from anywhere. Whereas up till now, he's been putting extra resources into chests, which are just left in the world, and he can craft with them, but he doesn't have direct access to them.
Okay, another sardine. Which fish are we even getting here? It's cod, right? Yeah. So, play cod. Actually, we need one. 2 is later. So we're already done with fishing for now. All right. Round 3 of fishing will be in the next teleportal world. The other thing I need is to kill one of these caterpillars running around. And now it's getting nighttime, which makes it harder for me to see the paralysis grass. That's cool.
Hopefully that's the only kind of cod we end up seeing in this chapter.
Yeah. You don't want to become cold as a cod. That was close.
This is very dark.
Yeah. Barely see where I'm going. I think we're about there. Oh, thanks, Ghost. All right, so now I'm paralyzed.
Yeah, so now we get to see how wonderful this status effect is.
Yeah, it wears off eventually as you walk, but I'm about to do a battle, and I don't walk much when I'm in battle. Did I miss it? Yeah, it's to my right. Okay. Here's the overhead view to find the caterpillar nest here. It looks like it already wore off good.
Now, if you continued to walk into those, would that refresh your paralysis state or not?
I believe so.
Yeah, there's sort of some interesting effects with the way like buffs and debuffs work in this game. I'm not sure how big of an impact it is on this chapter, but things like food that give you buffs to attack or other stats sort of have weird impacts where if you have a weak food and then you eat a stronger food, it actually just refreshes the duration of the weak one. So the way like status effect refreshes and things like that work can be a little bit maybe unintuitive sometimes.
Spin attack on these nests actually does 6 times damage instead of the usual 3 times damage. So I'll open up with that and then I'll just hide in the corner until to kind of protect myself from the caterpillars trying to attack me. Is he charged up for his spin attack and didn't do it? Okay. Never seen that before. So yeah, he charges at me. It's a pretty common AI pattern to, like we see it with knights in chapters 1 and 2, where they have normal attacks and they have a charge attack where they'll be stopped by pretty much anything they run into.
You can also see that a lot of enemies have, like TheCowness just took 5 damage at the end there with nothing really happening. Certain enemies have animations where their body just becomes an active hitbox and you can just take contact damage, which can be sometimes difficult to avoid while you're trying to attack because you have such a short range.
Yep. All right, so that was the first trip in there. We actually do double dip a couple of times in here for very short trips. Because you saw this person probably that I just completely ignored on the first visit. But I'm going to pick up Irvin here. Irvin has an unfortunate status condition that we're going to learn more about later. But for now, since he is unique in his condition, I'm going to leave him in this bed over here and kind of pile up all 3 of the people who show up with that condition in that same bed. And back in here, we're going to go pick up another guy.
And this guy's in a pretty pretty unfortunate situation.
Yeah, his ailment is actually not treatable. We'll see more about that later, though. Picking up these pumice pieces, which we invent throwing stones there, but that's not what we're going to do with them. Be cool if nighttime would end so the ghosts go away. Could have slept in a bed if I really wanted to get rid of it, though. Okay, now we just need to make sure we pick up a bunch of dirt for building, I think 2 more rooms we have to build. And then we need some coal as well, which hopefully I can see if it shows up here. There's some. Maybe below me, there is.
This game does a really good job of having a lot of the common enemies that you find, not all of them, but a lot of the common enemies you find being monsters that everybody knows from DQ1, you know, the ghosts and stuff like that.
It's the same thing I really like about the Monsters series. You just play the main game for a while, and then you get used to all these monsters, and then in the Monsters series, you get to have them on your team helping you out. Okay, so this room here, we're supposed to have come in from above. We fall in through the pit that this guy fell in through, but I know where the pit is, so I'm not dumb and falling into the paralysis pit. So we're going to grab him and help him out. We had to listen to this paralysis noise until I get him back. Oops. That's fine. Lakitu will help us. Yeah, above the pit, there's like crumble blocks, and it's kind of your tutorial to crumble blocks, which will destroy when you step on them. And then you land in that pit with him. And meanwhile, there's like a quest marker pointing you to him because L is trying to get you to find all these people that are sick. so kind of tricks you there. But if you know where the location is, then you can just dig in from the side, and it's faster than falling in. And then you have to dig out anyway. There's no way built into the game for you to get out. All right. Jump back in here. And Irvin, we can treat paralysis, so we'll put that here. And then I need to clear my inventory a bit because it is very crowded. Just all these objects that I don't need. Tingleweed bud.
Yeah, as we keep saying, inventory management in this game is really difficult. You pick up a lot of stuff. Some of it you need, some of it you don't. Some of it can stack effectively, some of it doesn't. And so tidying up your inventory throughout the run and knowing what you need to keep with you and not keep with you at a given point is definitely a big part of the optimization. And again, it's sort of one of those things where you can, in theory, do like extreme optimizations with what you're carrying with you and what gets replaced at given times. But there are so many factors out of your control with the way that resources randomly spawn and things that are near each other that you invariably need to do quite a bit of tidying up.
And if anyone's played Dragon Quest Builders 2 and not the first one before, you know that in Builders 2 you can tell it how many stacks you want to create, but I can't do that. It's all or nothing, so I can either build one comfy stool or as many as I have the materials for, but since I want 3, I have to do them one at a time. Alright. Got all the stuff. Build the watering hole over here. We need a little extra water blocks. We need the wash tub, a chest, a couple pots, sconce.
Countess loves sconces.
Yeah, they're great. The stool? Yeah. And then a door. That should be a watering hole. Open the door. Okay, Grountius. We're going to talk to him, and he's going to send us off on a quest to kill the giant caterpillar, which will help us research how to come up with paralysis cures. So that's kind of the recurring theme of how we come up with new remedies as we go defeat a large version of the monster that causes the problem. And then we'll be inspired on how to make tingle tablets using that caterpillar stinger I picked up. And also a ring that I could craft to become immune to paralysis, but I don't have the materials for that. Casey, yeah. So Casey here gives us the recipe, or the quest to create that watering hole over there. And then as the reward, I should get a bucket that lets me scoop up water, which I don't know. Nah, nobody wants it yet, but that will be the case later. I'll need to use it to treat patients.
Everybody who's played any kind of Minecraft sort of game learns to love water and how it functions.
Yeah. Yeah, the water physics in this game are kind of non-existent. Water is just always at the exact same level no matter where. It's 2 tiles above the floor of the level. But they actually added real mechanics to the water in Builders 2. They're kind of fun to play with.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. So, yeah, Nosh has a lot of this orange oil in his pocket. I'm not really sure why, but he gives us 3 stacks of 10. Oops. We got Edsel and Keen here. They have also, unfortunately, contracted the black stink, so I'm going to put them in their own beds away from everyone else. And we need to build... Did you give me that? You should have given me it. Oh. Throw that in there, pull out the blueprint. I have a note that says to clear a spot before talking to Nosh so that this doesn't go in the coffer, but I didn't do that. Okay, so here we're building a cafeteria because that's kind of all Nosh's quests. They're just either upgrading this cafeteria or creating specific foods, usually greasy foods with all the orange oil he gives you. I'm going to work on this blueprint here. The door we'll do later. Stool.
Never did I expect you could use slime oil to deep fry your foods.
I'm sure it's delicious. I need these things that I dropped over here. I also need a bonfire. Why am I short a bonfire? Grab this one. Yeah, I think I was supposed to pick it up when I dropped that sconce in there so that the sconce would stop the room from not being no longer a room. Also, just of note, I'm purposefully putting either the light source or the door in the room last, so that the animation of completing the quest overlaps the animation of completing the blueprint.
Yeah, and if you build the room earlier ahead of time, then like the room is going to change into different types of rooms as you place more items, and you get more pop-ups for that too.
Cook fire. So, fried frog stool. I need a couple of these. I made some extras in case I need to eat them myself. Cauldron. I'm gonna make some tingle tablets. Just making all the items I need here to cure my current set of patients. I didn't craft the bucket. Alright, we'll go scoop some water. I need one inventory slot, so let's get rid of this blueprint. Right.
Her first scoop of water.
Yep. Oh, sardine on a stick. Antidote herb. Water. Fried frog stool. Very specifically, she wants fried mushrooms. Alright. So resting here, I believe I get a cutscene, which really isn't avoidable in this chapter. Each chapter has a couple of these that you see when you go to sleep. It's just kind of a flashback to Dragon Quest 1. That one was the Dragon Quest 1 hero finding Erdrick's tablet. But we sleep so many times in this chapter, it's, again, not avoidable. You could try to avoid them just by standing around until the sun rises, but that's not easy to route in.
Yeah, it usually costs more time than just watching the dream takes. And the dreams casually are kind of cool that they those little flashbacks, because you know, people who like DQ1, it's cool to see certain areas or NPCs reimagined in this style. It's kind of a nice nostalgic touch.
I'm not base level 3 yet. Let's put these in here, that usually does it. Maybe? Not quite? Okay, let's there. Should do it. Alright, good enough. So again, this is the end of the blue teleportal segment, so we gotta raise the base level to 3, we gotta do a battle right after this, and then we'll get the red teleportal. Which I need to talk to the right person here. Kind of a skill in itself, just talking to the right person and not accidentally using the cook fire or the chest there. Alright, what do we got today? We got more of these killer pillars, which will paralyze me if they hit with their stinger attack or their spin attack. Okay. It's kind of difficult to avoid them just spinning off into the distance in this chapter. With like chapter 1 with the knights, I'll usually have stuff in my pocket that I can use to avoid them going too far away. Just drop it on the ground and step out of the way.
Yeah, there are certainly cases where you can like place down spikes or a block or something like that to get into an enemy's path, so that way they charge into that rather than either spinning away or charging into a person. But you know, the smaller an enemy is, the harder it is to do that. Some of them are pretty fast, and again, sometimes you just don't have the resources that you would need to be able to defend against charges that way.
Let's get away from these walls. Okay, so now I'm confused, which doesn't come up too often, but it reverses my controls. It's not too big of a hindrance for me. What is he doing? Okay, I forgot he could do that. That doesn't happen very often. There's a whole side quest involving the wolves that we're not even going to see, but there's like the blue wolves and the yellow wolves are at war with the ones that can confuse you. And you go through the quest to try to come up with a ring that makes you immune to confusion. But again, there's only like 2 of these waves that even have those monsters in them.
And it is worth noting is that there are various side quests that this run doesn't do. Every chapter has various challenges that you can choose to do also, which you know, could be things like you know, beating it under a certain number of days, or crafting certain items, or building certain rooms, or defeating certain monsters. We're not going to be doing many of them in this run, but there are plenty of fun extra things that you could do when you're playing this game casually.
Yeah, I'd estimate we're only doing like half the content in this game, or in this chapter. There's like a whole side quest where there's a bunch of these little puzzles set up that you've got to complete. Most of them are like, there's a room here and an empty room over here, and you got to make the right one look like the left one. And okay, so in here we're gonna collect a lot more materials. This is also where I'm gonna grab our silver to create the Lyre of Slime Immemorial that I saw the donation was meant for. So yeah, this would be another good time to throw it over to the host while I'm just collecting a bunch of stuff. Is there any silver? I don't see any. Alright, so we need 3 crab claws, 3 leaves. Okay, that was weird collision. There's silver.
The silver kind of shows up randomly, and it can be really hard to spot because it doesn't show up in large quantities.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull it into my inventory just so I can see how much of it I have. I need 6 for the main quest and 5 more just for the donation incentive.
There they are, the green ones. Crabber-dabber-doos.
That they are. It's the name they went with for the Switch version of DQ3. I'm actually... hang on a sec. Usually you can sneak in and grab her without them getting in the way, but then I saw how low my health was, so... The trees will fight a bit later. They have an attack that drains your hunger meter, which is kind of annoying, but they also drop food when you kill them.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about the hunger mechanic at all, because in this game you can mostly ignore it to an extent. It slowly drains your hit points when you're hungry. You can see the flashing red, like bread icons next to your health bar. In Builders 2, it's more of a hindrance than it is in this one. But it is still a case where Countess might eat at various points to stop the health drain.
I see the rest of our silver up there. Oops.
Bringing another sick patient back to the sick room.
Yep. This is Hazel. I'm gonna drop her off first. And Elle, please. Come on. Yeah, I know. We're gonna find them.
Exactly what Countess was just talking about a second ago with talking to the right NPCs or interacting with the right item is often difficult.
Yeah, it said press A to lay her down, and then Elle walked up to me and it changed to talk at like the last possible frame before I pushed the button. So yeah, the reason I'm sleeping here is to get somebody out of one of the beds so that I can use it for the other person who's laying down in there. I think I got everything I need so far.
I always like the music in the little flashback dreams too. Always some DQ1 music.
Yeah, the soundtrack changes actually after you beat the final boss and get rid of the dark clouds in the sky, and the flashbacks kind of have that cheerier music that you don't get until later. Okay, let's head up here and grab the silver I saw, and hopefully it's enough. It was not.
Not quite.
If I see any more. There's a little. Oh yeah, we're good. Just nice, because I don't know where else to look for it. One more. I'll grab them both. I don't think that's a problem.
Should be enough. There's some more on the right there too.
I am. I'll probably craft that right now while I'm thinking about it. It's also another reason for staying the night at that point and why I grabbed the furthest person first, but I'm actually going to, just for safety, stay the night again here, and that's just the day-night cycle. I don't want it to be nighttime when I'm finishing up in that teleportal. So let's clear a spot first. And then, where even is the lyre? I have in my notes all these instructions of if this thing's clogging your construction list, push an extra up button.
Yep. So this was the donation incentive for crafting the lyre.
Yep. Now we get the 8-bit music. I'll probably carry it with me. I may switch back and forth a couple times just because the Dragon Quest I battle theme gets a little grating, but For now, we can take some DQ4 hero theme. So I walk across here. We got a couple more materials to grab and a mini boss to fight. Eat one of these so I stop starving. In addition to your health dropping when you're hungry, it actually refills when you are not hungry. So it kind of converts your food meter into health. Okay. I'm going to deviate from my notes a little bit here. Oh, I don't think I picked up these earlier. We'll grab those just in case. Yeah, in older versions of my route, I used to climb this tower that's somewhere over here on the left because there's a treasure chest in it that has materials in it, the rusty nuggets that this guy's going to drop for me instead. But I decided if I get good spawns, it's faster just to kill these skeletons. Also, sometimes they will resurrect with half HP and sometimes they won't. So it's faster if you get good luck with that as well.
Yeah, and every chapter kind of has, what Counts was just talking about, some treasure chests scattered throughout the world that you can find, and they're usually in pretty predictable places, and they'll often contain items which can either be used for crafting or can be directly placed in your town for more base points or something like that. So some chapters get more of them than others.
Alright, and a red one. Perfect. Okay. And he did not drop anything, so I know he's going to stand back up. How many did he drop? 5? Perfect. Okay. I noticed the other day there's actually randomness to that. I thought he always dropped 5, but he gave me 4 the other day. Okay. So now I got to climb up this wall here. And we're looking for 3 wheat, which are very sparse up in the top of these hills. So, see if I can spot any. Not seeing it.
I'm enjoying this 8-bit music.
Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Slime block. I hate these things. That scared me the first time I found one in the demo. It's just walking through a cave, then you turn around and there's 2 blocks that weren't there before, and you bump into them, and that happens.
RPGs
There's
love
one.
mimics, and what better way to have a mimic that turns into a slime?
Yeah. Gonna shoot me. I just want to hit this guy on principle. Oh, he put me to sleep.
Nap time.
That was not in the bubble. Okay. I need one more. This is the most annoying item to hunt in this chapter. They're just very spread out, and they're only up in the very tops of these hills. I cannot find a 3rd one.
Do we have time for a quick donation while you're looking?
Sure.
We have a $10 donation from Shadow Killer who says, "Hey Cowie, good luck with the run." Shout out again to Hack on Commentary and the DQ crew in the back. Great job on the interview earlier, Cowie, but I got confused because it actually sounded like you enjoyed some of the video games you run. Surely this can't be the case.
Alright, I'm just going to work with 2. My Shadow Killer actually bought the Yeti for me that I have had for most of the event. Alright, got 5 potatoes, and I think all that's left is to do a little fishing.
More fishing.
So there's in each area that some of them have like different areas where you can fish up different things. I believe in this zone, everywhere in the ocean is the same fish. So anywhere over here I can do my fishing. I just want to find a spot that's easy to build a little safety hut in case the skeletons come over to visit. And we'll do it here.
Yeah, you saw when Counts did the fishing earlier, he did this too. He kind of put walls around himself just to prevent himself from getting attacked while doing the fishing. So it makes it extra funny when you fish up a monster and the monster goes directly into the little hut that he makes, and then he's trapped in there with it.
Yeah. That's why I make it as small as I do. Actually, there's a small chance that somebody might go to this little spot on the left side of me that would probably get me there. There's a salmon. I need one more of those. It's a 1/3 chance to fish them up, so this won't take long. And then all I got to do is run into this fortress down there and kill a boss.
It's cool that as you fish up certain fish, it tells you like what you can learn to make with those fish.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, sometimes the fishing takes a little long, so that's why I slept before coming in here to make sure it's not nighttime when I'm trying to fight this boss, because I can kill it very quickly if I don't have ghosts harassing me. Actually, before I get there, I should probably use a Seed of Life. Normally in like a PB attempt, I would end these chapters with very low max HP, because when you use those things, the game freezes for a little second, but for marathon safety, I'll raise my max a little. Alright, so this guy you'll recognize from Dragon Quest 1. I'm just going to stand right here and wail on him with the axe. How did you get in here?
Countess specifically blocked off the exit
What?
entrance.
Okay, well... Yeah, I thought I was doing that out of paranoia. I haven't had someone follow me in here in a while. Okay, well, justified. So, yeah, what we're getting out of this treasure chest is some notes on how to farm, which if you play Dragon Quest Builders 2 and not Builders 1, farming is awful in this game. So, we'll see just how awful in a bit, but yeah, I got a bunch of recipes there to turn plants into seeds, and then I can plant them in the dirt and sleep and then harvest extras in the morning. So, clear more inventory spot. Good enough. We need to pick up some of these stairs. We're going to use those in a second. What's Garantius at? Talk to Casey first. He's going to give me a recipe to spruce up the watering hole.
Yeah, the NPCs kind of like to wander around towns and be in different places, so sometimes when you warp back to town, you gotta go find them.
Some of them are more likely to be in specific buildings than others, like Garantius hangs out in his lab a lot, but not today. And the kitchen is just kind of a place where any NPCs can hang out. You can also see if I ever have, I don't know if I get any in this chapter, but like the guys who look like they're wearing armor usually stand right outside a door and hang out, which is kind of cool. But mostly they just kind of jump up on the walls and walk around the walls and destroy the illusion that you've got roofs on these buildings. Okay, give me that recipe. Okay, so what am I missing? Oh, I didn't pick up the cook fire. That's fine.
Barbecue time.
I'm just gonna borrow this. I'll bring it back. Yeah, so we're gonna upgrade the cook fire into a barbecue. That's what I picked up those bricks for. Get the filter fountain. Just gonna improve the watering hole. We need 2 stacks of fencing. And we're gonna go over to the cauldron. Need some potato sprouts. Do not craft all on this. That's a big mistake if I do that. Do craft all on butterbean. I think I was supposed to have more than that. Wheat X2, yep. Yeah, I'm 1 short, so I'm going to have to do a little extra farming with the wheat. That's fine. Let's check in here just for safety. See, yeah, there's usually herbs in this chest. Talk to Nosh to complete his quest. I think we get more orange oil. Yep.
More deep fried food.
Okay. Should have the blueprint for the veggie patch. Okay, a lot of dirt that needs to go down here. I have not found a good, efficient way to drop this down with the placement of those stairs there. Oh, I'm screwing it up.
Yeah, placing blocks for these blueprints can be pretty picky. It likes to, as you can see here, sort of double stack things as you're moving around. And sometimes it's an issue and sometimes it's not. But when you're following a blueprint, it helps to be exact and you don't want to waste extra resources.
Now, this ghost will respawn pretty quickly, but hopefully I can at least put the dirt down. Nope. That's fine. I'm just gonna do this. I need to pull the seeds out of here. Alright. And the just because I couldn't find the extra wheat, I'm gonna take an extra sleep here to make that wheat grow, and it'll also get rid of all the monsters.
I was gonna say those monsters are really interested in those vegetables.
Yeah. Okay. I'll pick this up, and now I should have plenty of wheat. Go back to raking. Yeah, Builders 2 gives you ways to rake the earth in a big area, so you don't have to do this one by one. It's so much nicer.
And the game doesn't give you like a great indicator of which tile you're aiming at either, so you can see
Yeah.
sometimes it's easy to just like try to rake the tile that you're already on.
Let me real quickly go put this down. I think I need 3 pure water. And I need to make more wheat seeds. Alright, I think I'm good on that now. We double check. Okay, so wheat goes here. We gotta put some potatoes in the middle and some butter beans on the right. Not that. This.
I think you said you also were short of butter beans from what you wanted.
I might have. Short on something for sure. Oops. Picture taken. Potato, yeah, it is butter beans. Might need to make some more of those then. That's fine. Okay, let's get my fencing out of here too. This is a spot where I pretty consistently seem to have messed up my inventory management, and a lot of the stuff I build goes into the colossal coffer, so I probably need to revisit the routing on that. Tells me to clear a certain number of inventory spots in my notes, but I always feel like I need everything that I've got. Okay.
Yeah, so once TheCowness finishes up these butter beans, he'll be able to finish up this veggie patch.
Yeah, be careful not to harvest the potatoes. Oops, that's fine. And we go over here. Where did they go? Over here.
It's kind of nice that everything gives you like icons in your inventory like that. TheCowness has played some of these games also in Japanese a little bit, and it's pretty easy to follow even if you're playing on the Japanese version because of everything having its own unique icon, and it's pretty good, pretty well done artwork and everything too. So it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I've done runs on Japanese versions of this, but it's not too much faster. It's just probably a little less dialogue, but the dialogue scrolls instantly, so it's not like every character matters like in some games. All right, time to harvest. Oops.
I guess that's the other thing to talk about too, is that TheCowness is playing this on the Nintendo Switch version, but this game was also originally released on like the PlayStation 4. I'm not sure if it's on anything else or not, but it's mostly the same game, but there are definitely some small differences between the versions. Some of the challenges are different between the version, is a big one. Some of the drops that enemies have, or some of the specific ways of crafting the stuff you need to progress the story are slightly different. But the games are, from a casual standpoint, it's not really a big impact, but it is a little bit different from a speedrun routing standpoint, depending on which version that you're playing.
Yeah. Oh, I need to do one more thing with the rake.
But this is the perfect kind of game for the Switch, Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2. Like, if you like Minecraft kind of games, you like building stuff, you like playing that kind of game on the go, definitely recommend checking these out.
Alright, now we're going to make all our gourmet meals here. So we're going to make some sauteed salmon, some bouillabaisse. Sure I pronounced that right. Crab claw, sardine on a stick, super salad, you don't have to choose, fries, and a baguette. Typically, if I had to pick between all these, I'd probably go for the fries when I got a bad cold. Okay. So, treat everybody. Sardine on a stick right here.
Give them all their favorite foods.
Yep. So, these are the last patients that we actually have to treat with food like this. One of them needs 3 things, the other one needs 4. So we're going to sleep a couple of times here, and this is why I say that you can't really avoid those cutscenes in this chapter. Be very careful I don't talk to L. There we go.
One more round of food.
Use this. Tight salmon.
Oh, I guess actually one more round of food.
Yeah, that gets
last
that
one needs
person out of
4.
bed, but the other one's got 1 more to go. Need boiler base. There you go, buddy. I'll eat the extra fries.
All right, and now it's going to be time for another battle.
Yep.
Every chapter in this game kind of has its own sort of flavor in terms of, quest progression, exploration, battles, etc. Chapter 3, for example, which was one of the options in this bid war, is a lot more focused on the combat. There's a lot of battles as you progress the town, as you go through the chapter, and some of them are really difficult. Chapter 2 is a pretty good mix of kind of everything, pretty well balanced, so.
Yeah, this is the one that I'm most proud of the routing in. There have been a couple other runners of this game. There's been like 4 Japanese runners, maybe 3 Western runners, including myself, but I initially routed this from the ground up by myself just as a routing exercise and before looking at anybody else's notes. And probably 90 to 95% of what I originally did is still what I do in my route. You can see there is casting the spell that makes your hunger meter drain. Where was those herbs I was given? I don't know why you get 37 off an herb instead of 36. It's like a 21% boost, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Zombies are easier to kill if you build a up next to them, but I'm not going to do it just for one.
So you can kind of jump on top of the tile and hit them from above.
Do it here. Something I didn't mention earlier, the first time we fought one of these walking corpses, is that when they die, they shout Gerontius's name, which kind of implicates him that he might have something to do with them, and we don't really find out what until after this battle. Yeah. So this tree has the same hunger spell. It'll also heal itself, which is just a complete waste of time.
I love the tree enemies.
Ow. I hear it's healing itself, which will heal for 30, I think, and I'm hitting it for 16. I think I actually killed it before it went off, though. All right. There we go. So here I'm going to sleep in a bed, and just a warning, it's going to get really quiet, and then a character is going to scream, so rip headphone users. There she goes. So that was L. Something has happened to the 3 patients that are still in bed, and it, of course, doesn't put her in this room, so I gotta go find her. And she's usually over here. And then Grontius I talked to next. And we're just gonna go check on them. And I'm gonna talk to them one at a time, and they're just kind of rambling, and then they turn into zombies.
Oh no.
I'm just going to jump up here and take care of them real quickly. Come on. There we go. Alright, real quick battle there, and then afterward we're going to find out that Grontius says that he had a partner that they were doing alchemy work with, trying to cure the poison that's been spread all over Rimuldar, and I believe the disease that turns them into zombies was like an unintended effect of their research. So that was why he was just moping on that mountain over there when we met him. So I'm going to talk to Grantius. He's going to give me some notes that he wants me to take to his partner, who's off in the red teleportal. So we're going to run through here one more time. And I'm going to clear some more inventory space. That'll work. And yeah, we got another pretty long trek here. Just the complete opposite corner of the map. If Post has anything to read, this would be another good time.
Absolutely. We do have a $25 anonymous donation. We want to thank them for that. But we do also want to remind everybody that we are here. We are RPG Limit Break, here collecting donations for NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They have a bunch of wonderful services, including the NAMI Helpline, which is a free US-based nationwide peer support service providing information, resource referrals, and support to people living with mental health conditions, their family members and caregivers, mental health providers, and the public. The NAMI Helpline is available Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time via call, text, and live web chat. To reach the NAMI Helpline, you can call 1-800-950-6264 or visit nami.org/help to access all NAMI Helpline resources and contact information.
Alright, so yeah, just on the other side of this mountain here, we're going to find the place where Grantius' partner Ilias has been working. He's been kind of continuing the research alone, and things aren't going too well. But as soon as we get up to his house, we're going to find out what's going on. I'm also going to take some stuff from his house because he doesn't need it, but I need points for my base. I'm going to repair this wall for a very specific reason.
Yeah, spoiler alert, more zombies.
Yeah.
We're not done with them yet.
Yeah, wooden cladding. Got these. We talked to him, then he needs me to actually use this letter. Then I talk to him again. Oops. Now they're all gonna get up, and yeah, the reason that I got rid of or repaired that wall over there is so that they don't use their pathfinding to jump up on the wall and come over to me. Ow, I fell off. That's fine. Yeah, most of them. All right.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, he talks to us there at the end, encourages us to tell Grantius to continue their work, gives us his notes. Now we're going to go back and relay the message. And I'm going to come here, craft all on this wood. Let's talk to you. I think I need to talk to somebody. I don't think I have the recipe that I'm supposed to craft here. Whoops. Alright. So Grantius is starting to get inspired to start his research again. Not you, I want Mildred. Couple of people joining our town here who got out of bed. Mildred here should give me a recipe. Ding.
There we go.
Or a ballista, which we will be using to fight the boss of the chapter.
Yeah, so up until now, most of the combat's been done with like actual weapons, swords, clubs, hammers. But there are a lot of ways that you can use built structures or other items to help you in combat. Talked about spikes earlier that exist in some of the chapters. There's cannons, there's evil idols, and there are these ballistas that you can place down to, help take out certain enemies at long range, deal damage a little bit more safely, deal more damage, and these ballistas will be very important.
Yeah, so right now I'm just trying to get my base up to level 4. These slime balloons come in handy. I can actually also use the lyre. It's worth a lot of points. Yep, that did it. All right.
And just a reminder that this is also in the double points room, so some of these items are being worth double what they normally would be.
Yeah. Yeah, everything on that same layer is. Don't think I have anything in there that's not getting doubled right now. Okay. Talk to Mildred here. Then Grantius, probably... No, it's battle time. I already got the reward for level 4. Alright, so after this battle, we'll be entering the last teleportal. They kind of get shorter as they go, so we're coming up pretty close on the final boss rush. Yeah, we got this fight to get through first. At this point, the living corpses actually show up in human form. When you get close to them, they fall over.
Above everything is the bird still looming.
Yep. Now, fine.
Now, has there been any explanation about how this bird might relate to anything that's going on?
Not really sure. I know he's related to it, but I don't know if he's implied to be causing it or if he's just the boss that just kind of keeps this town oppressed. Alright, here we go. Oops. Game calls these guys suspicious strangers. I think in the Japanese version their names are just 3 question marks. The Dragon Quest localization team lately has been kind of known for taking liberties. Anything with alliteration is better than something without, right? Okay, so now we see the problem with the townspeople giving this guy iframes, where half of my swings just aren't hitting, and instead they're hitting with their wooden sticks for 1 or 2 damage. I kind of appreciate it if he would knock them over.
Yeah, earlier on in most of the chapters, having the NPCs helping you out with combat is usually pretty beneficial. They'll tank hits for you. Sometimes they can even clear out a battle while you're building or crafting or doing other things while the battle's happening in the background. But as the chapters go on, the NPCs become less and less effective and often more of a hindrance.
Okay. That's the end of that battle, and at the end of this battle, something special is going to happen. You watch Elle over here. As soon as the animation's done, she's going to collapse on the ground. She has contracted the zombie disease.
Oh no.
So we talked to her. She says, hey, there's no cure for this. We know what it does to people. Why don't you just, put me out of my misery? And we talk to Grantius, and he decides we're not going to do that. We're actually going to figure out how to cure it this time.
The final inspiration that he needs.
Yep. I think this is also where he reveals that he's Elle's grandfather, too. So he gives me... oh, I need to put the green teleportal down. This is a weird trigger. This is the only place where dropping a teleportal changes something. But when I do this, Hazel is going to now have a quest for me. Normally, you get all the next teleportal quests before even setting the portal down. So she's going to talk about silver as a material and says, hey, maybe there's some way you could make it more workable, and then you could make some cool stuff with it.
Ignoring the fact that, we've already found a bunch of silver.
Yeah, then she gives me that seed of life because I've already got a bunch of silver in my pocket. So I'm going to come over here and craft liquid silver. Actually need 1 more stack of it. And I think this is the first point in the chapter where you get metal equipment, like that chainmail Falcon Blade. We are going to make the Falcon Blade. Haven't really talked about armor, but the Wayfarer's clothes that I'm wearing right now actually makes me a little faster. I move 10% faster, which is barely noticeable, but it certainly adds up to a few minutes in the speedrun. And if I take enough damage, it actually breaks on me and then slows things down a little bit for the rest of the run.
Yeah, it's not usually too much of a factor in chapters 2 and 3 because you start with the Wayfarer's clothes. But in chapter 1, it's a much bigger implication because you actually have to craft them to get the extra movement speed, and there's some decision making and some RNG drops in terms of whether or not you're able to get them.
Right now I need to be on the lookout for gold so that I can create that sword. I think that's gold. There is actually one upgrade in, I think, only this chapter, maybe chapter 4 as well, for the Wayfarer's Clothes. You can get a Cloak of Evasion. Actually, this chapter also has Training Togs, which also have the movement bonus. But in general, it's just faster to not take damage, so I don't go out of my way to get extra defense power. You have plenty of health, especially in this chapter, with all the herbs that they give you and the Herbalist Lab, making them all 25% stronger. 22, however it is they get from 30 to 37. Okay, so yeah, we went to this world. We're looking for what's left of the world tree, which is over there on the left. But first I got something I need to get out of probably here. Yeah. And here we're also going to see the zip that I mentioned in the interview earlier. I'm going to use it to get out of here. It only saves about 10 seconds, but may as well do it.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
I need the key first. So we're going to open the store. And I don't have the stairs on me. Actually, I need to go pick some up. That's fine. I might be losing some of the time I'm saving, but it's still worth showing.
Yeah, you can see that the roof of this place it's not super high, and there's a specific set of formations that Countess can put there with stairs and ivy. And what's going to happen is when Countess jumps off of the ivy onto the stairs, it's going to force him upwards, and it's going to force him upwards until he runs into a space with 2 free tiles. So that's why he put the block above. And just like that, he zips out.
Yeah, in Chapter 3, we can actually use it to sequence break a little bit, but in this chapter, it just kind of saves the time of walking out of there. Hopefully this is enough dirt to make this elevator.
And more importantly, it looks cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta have some swag in your speedruns.
Yeah, I actually routed one of those clips into Chapter 1 yesterday in case the Chapter 1 was picked, because I wanted to make sure I showed it off regardless of which chapter was chosen. So TheCowness here is a ghost. We're going to talk to him, and he's going to tell us some alchemy secrets. And we're going to figure out how to make this big transmutation table, which is an upgrade of the alchemy pot we've got back home. And I also picked up that flower that was hidden down in that bunker with the dragon. We're going to use that to make a medicine to cure L. So we got all that. I also, before I forget, because I forget to equip this thing a lot, I'm going to make the Falcon Blade. The Falcon Blade hits twice if you've played Dragon Quest, so probably sounds very familiar. Okay, well, he's busy fighting a ghost. Talk to Grantius. He's going to give us a recipe for taking the flour that we got and making seeds out of it, because there's only one left, but we need more materials out of it than that. So we're going to be inspired to create a divine draught using it. I actually need one more. A lot of these awkward pauses in the middle of dialogue before the quests are completed or before you get your inspiration. Hollyhock seed. Okay, so oops. Need to go over to this table and make the hollyhock seed. Then we're going to pick up the cauldron so we can upgrade it. Oh, there it is. Hiding behind all the glowing teleportals. Turn it into the transmutation table. We don't need the transmutation table yet. I'm going to plant the seed in this dirt that I raked earlier, and the ghosts are going to stop me from sleeping. There we go. It's based on proximity to you, so even if the townspeople are fighting on the other side of town, you can just sleep and they'll take care of it. Okay, so I slept and it grew a little bit. I'm going to sleep again and it'll grow more. Trees work the same way. In Chapter 3, you have to grow some trees, and you have to sleep twice for them to reach a big enough size that they give the full amount of wood. Okay, so I'm going to grab this, and then I need to put the table down. Use the Divine Draught. Use it to cure L.
So she's not going to turn into a zombie?
Yep. Because the black stink is off of her. She just needs a little more rest. I'm gonna leave her in bed because her throwing knives don't do much damage. Just more iframes. We'll talk to Grantius here and kind of wrap up. He just talks a little more about himself, and then after this, we're gonna start the final boss gauntlet. So all the chapters end this way. You're gonna have 3 normal battles with 1 to 3 waves of monsters, and then after the 3rd battle, you'll have the actual boss fight. So we're gonna have to deal with pretty much every monster we've seen so far in these waves. First one is gonna have these droll guys in it. It's gonna be a bunch of poison that we have to deal with. The next one's gonna have paralysis in it, and then third one's gonna bring back some other enemies like the trees and the wolves. So,
And you may have noticed that throughout these, throughout the battles and the combat that we've had so far, all the combat's been done with, you know, swords and hammers and that sort of thing. And just keep in mind that the boss of this, as mentioned earlier, is a giant flying bird. That's, you know, not gonna just go up and smack them with your sword.
yep. Pick up some dirt between waves here because we need a little bit more.
At least not without a little preparation.
Guess we can use the poison dirt. Why not? So the Falcon Blade deals like 75% of the damage of the Iron Axe, but it hits twice. Unless you're jumping. If you jump, then it deals normal damage, but only hits once. We didn't talk too much about the specifics of combat, but you can kind of see, like, when I'm swinging my sword standing on the ground, I can't move. So it's faster to just stand still and swing, but you have more mobility if you jump around while you're doing it. Oh, and these guys always run off into the poison, and sometimes the townspeople follow them, sometimes they don't, but they usually just die. Okay, this big one, I think, can actually paralyze you with his arrows. Yep. Fine, fewer iframes if they're paralyzed. Oh, he's stun lock. Alright, good.
Nice fight.
Alright. So you got 2 more fights like that. I'd say this is probably the last chance if the host has anything to read here while we clean these up.
Yes, absolutely. We do want to send out some love to LLK, who is a longtime contributor to GDQ Marathons and the designer of our promo banners, attendee badges, and the emotes.
Ow.
I want to encourage you to check out her work at jezaboo.com. That's JAZAABOO.com. Of course, we are here collecting donations for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Every donation goes directly to them and the great work they do. They are the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization whose work is focused around 3 pillars: education and support, awareness, and advocacy. What that means for them, for specifically looking at their education and support via their 48 state offices and nearly 700 affiliates, NAMI offers a host of signature programs, presentations, and support groups that are available free of charge. This includes a national helpline that can provide information, resources, and a compassionate, understanding, trained volunteer to support anyone who calls in.
Yeah, so this battle here, these final boss gauntlets in general, and this battle in particular, just has a ton of enemies that can paralyze you, which really, as Countess has mentioned many times throughout this chapter, is pretty frustrating to deal with. And sometimes it's hard to avoid because there are so many enemies that stack on top of each other. You can't avoid every single hit. But the paralysis seems to be gone now, and the fight's cruising right along.
I shouldn't have to deal with any more paralysis in this run. The final boss can paralyze me, but it's kind of uncommon for me to be hit by that. This caterpillar can do quite a bit of damage when he hits you with a rolling attack. I think it does like 30, so it's one of the last actual threats in this chapter. Where did everyone else go? Did something run away? Yeah, there's a zombie running amok. Okay. Well, I'll deal with him in a bit.
He's just hanging out up on the walls.
Ow. Almost had him. Where'd he go? There he is. Paralysis cannot proc while you're in the air, so I can just jump and take care of this guy and run around and hope the paralysis wears off. before the end of the fight. If it doesn't, I'll just sleep in the bed to get rid of it. Actually, they just gave me 5 things to cure it with now that I don't have to deal with it anymore. There we go. Okay, one more of these normal battles. Bird. Got trees today. Turn to face them. Alright. Yeah, just swing the sword, take a step, swing the sword, take a step, because they're getting stunned by each hit.
Here you can really see the power of the Falcon Sword, and how much more damage it's doing than weapons were doing earlier in the run.
Yep. Alright.
And because, obviously, you're not the legendary hero, you're the legendary builder, typically you're fairly limited in terms of what sort of equipment you can craft and equip. But the Falcon Sword is definitely one of the better ones.
Somebody's destroying my infirmary. Probably the other wolf. It's kind of fine at this point, I don't really care.
It's fine, you cured all the sick people, except
Yeah.
the ones that turned into zombies.
Yeah, Elle might have still been in bed, but now she's not. Okay, where's he going? I'll find him. How did they get him? Deal with this guy. This guy is annoying to deal with when the townspeople are around. Stop destroying my house. No. He's not in a good spot because he's up against this step he can take.
Well, that works.
Yeah, there we go. This guy's got a ton of health. Oops, it's not my healing. Alright. That other guy's still alive in there. I gotta find him. Okay. Oh, he got stuck because he dug underneath this wall. So he wasn't able to jump up into this room. Alright. Yeah, those wolves don't inflict any status of ailments. They're just the yellow ones you'd see outside Cantlin in Dragon Quest 1.
Well, this was a town full of rooms at one point.
Yeah. We still got the cafe. I don't think it broke. I mean, everyone's healed. We don't need the other rooms. Alright, here we go with the final boss of the chapter. The Hades Condor.
Yeah, so this boss has a really cool strategy. So this boss can use the limbo spell on you, which will kind of send you flying to a random point in the arena and do about half your health worth of damage. It is everybody's favorite DQ status effect. And you may remember that TheCowness casted or crafted a couple ballistas earlier, and I mentioned that how are we going to deal with this flying monster because everything else we've been fighting has been in melee, and the answer is going to be to use ballistas. But in order to do that, TheCowness is going to have to kind of craft a platform up in the air to be able to place the ballista, and he's going to put a roof over it, so that way when the bird tries to use limbo, he will hopefully not go flying.
I know I said the confusion doesn't really affect me, but at this spot, it's really annoying. Oh, they're in my bag. Where are they in my bag? I'm blind, I don't see them. There they are. I always have a lot of trouble finding things that are just lost in my inventory. Alright, so we build this up here to the specific height, hit him 3 times, he falls down, and then we just go up and wail on him with the sword. It's going to look like I don't quite take off 1/3 of his HP, but he will die in 3 cycles. Stand here and he'll call for help. Get rid of these guys, because otherwise the zombie's going to start tearing stuff up, and the droll will actually shoot poison at me and probably snipe me. So, put a little roof on our little structure here. You can't see his health right now because it says defeat the Condor's cronies until I defeat everybody he picked. He called for help for. but right now he needs 5 hits to drop. So it'll be 3, then 5, then 7. And here's his limbo spell. But if I'm under a roof, I don't go anywhere. It's too bad it doesn't work that way against Baramos. Alright, it's really hard to hit him while he's still moving, so I generally just wait for him to stop and then shoot. Sometimes you can get a lucky hit on him, but it won't home in on him. Well, there we go.
Alright,
But
2 cycles.
yeah, what causes him to get up is a combination of time or damage, so I am doing a full cycle of damage there before he gets up. You've got quite a bit of extra time to work with. We want to avoid these. So another attack I don't know if he's used yet where he just kind of shoots feathers at you. That's the one that can paralyze you. And I don't think we're gonna... Oh no, he's doing limbo again.
Yeah, I was probably going to take at least another cycle anyway.
Alright. Now the objective in the bottom left or bottom right has changed. Got him.
There we go.
And that should be the end of the fight. Maybe? Don't know why I'm not hitting. Okay, we got him.
Good job.
So yeah, what he dropped there is the Storm Stone, which we're going to use to restore the Staff of Rain, which is an item that comes up in DQ1 and DQ3. You use it to get to the final boss's castle. At the end of chapters 1, 2, and 3, you make different pieces of the rainbow drop, and in chapter 4, you kind of put them together. So we're just going to create the Staff of Rain here, hold it up in front of the banner, and then restore light to the world. We'll get rid of these dark clouds up here.
Does it do anything for the poison?
It does not, strangely. There's still going to be poisonous water out there. If you really wanted to, you could fill it in with dirt and then dig out to the ocean and then dig it back out, but I haven't done that. All right. It looks like this has been a pretty good run. This run's about, like this chapter is about 10 minutes shorter than the other two, so I was expecting to be a bit underestimate, but it looks like we're going to be about 15 under, which is great. Yeah, so time's going to come up in about a minute and a half as I walk to this shining light in the distance over here. Then the chapter completion screen's going to pop up, and that's where we call time. Oh, I accidentally talked to Elle, so we got a few more seconds. But as I'm walking over here, I just got to give a general shout out to the DQRTA community. Haktical mentioned this in his run, but if anyone out there wants to learn any DQ speedruns, we've got a Discord that you can find from any of the speedrun.com pages. You can hop in there, and if we don't have an English guide written up for you, I'm sure someone in there can at least link you to a Japanese run if you're running something obscure. Yeah, all the chapters end with you jumping into this light and warping off to what would be Cole in chapter 3. Alright. Yeah, I think that's all I really got today for DQ Builders. Do you have anything else you wanted to say?
No. Thanks for having me here on commentary. It's always a fun run to watch. Always a fun game. Great to see some DQ in the marathon. Great to see some support from other attendees of DQ. Nice to have the crew here.
All right, here's our results screen, and
Here you can see the challenges that would have been available.
Yep. All right, and that's time. Yeah, thanks again for RPG Limit Break for having me. And yeah, we'll pass it over the next run, Final Fantasy X-2, I think.
All right, thank you so much again, TheCowness. That was an amazing run to watch. Folks, my time here has come to an end. It has been a pleasure to be with you through these last 2 runs. Don't stop donating. Get on that train. We have Bid Wars coming up, another incentive for Final Fantasy X2, and other amazing things. But I am going to sign off. I'm going to leave you in the wonderful hands of Stolteheim right after this ad break.
Thank you very much, Ashen, and thank you to TheCowness and that whole crew for their run of Dragon Quest Builders. My name is Stolteheim. I will be your host for Final Fantasy X-2 coming right up next. While we get that set up for you, I'd like to remind everybody why we are here and what we are raising money for. RPG Limit Break 2023 proudly supports the National Alliance on Mental Illness, or NAMI for short. To get involved in the fight against mental illness and the stigmas it can bring, reach out to NAMI via their state organizations or on Facebook, where they can be found as NAMI, on Instagram and Twitter as @NAMI Communicate. There's no shame in reaching out for help. If you think you need it, please get in touch. In the words of Final Fantasy IX, you are not alone. We do have a $25 donation coming in here from Rob D. Raven, who is appalled. They say, wait, we haven't met that incentive yet? Well, here's 20 bucks for 1,000 words. Also, Bob is the true wielder of the dual blade. And you know, that gives me a wonderful opportunity to segue into this run's incentives. We have actually met both of them already. Your lovely couch and commentary crew will be singing 1,000 words and real emotion. So look forward to that. We also have several bid wars on hand for the next run on our schedule. That's Chrono Cross the Radical Dreamers Edition, where you can name several of the party members they'll be using throughout the run. Oh, and goodness me, how could I forget the prizes we have on hand for this run? By donating $5 minimum by the end of this run, you can be entered to win a Steam key for Chained Echoes, a copy of Final Fantasy X-2 for the PS2, and Yuna and Pain Perlers brought to you courtesy of Red Silvers. By donating $10, you can be entered to win a Dragon Quest Leisure Sheet and Picnic Blanket, and a CGC 10 graded Final Fantasy trading card game card for yours truly, Yuna. You can find links and images for all of these prizes, all of these bid wars, all of these incentives, and more at our website, rpglimitbreak.com. We do have some merchandise on offer for this event that you don't need to compete for. RPG Limit Break is proud to partner with the Yeti to bring you 6 awesome t-shirts that are now available, plus pins. Head over to theyeti.com/RPGLB to take a look at the designs, pick up the ones you want, and know that $5 from every t-shirt purchased will be donated to NAMI. Remember, Yeti is spelled Y-E-T-E-E.
Safety warning. Normal levels will be exceeded in 3, 2, 1. Soon I will be pure light, pure energy. I will burn like the brightest star. That city will be a reality, and we will be crowned its kings. Or better than kings.
These last few years have been a stressful time in the world, and understandably, it's had a strain on many people's mental health. In the United States alone, 21% of adults reported suffering some kind of mental illness. That's 52.9 million people, and many of their struggles go unrecognized. Please remember to reach out for help if you need it. You are not alone. I will say, my heavens, in the spirit of Final Fantasy X, you have overkilled the Sing 1,000 words incentive with a $200 donation from Maddie, who says, $200 for 2 of my 10-2 runners. Sorry, work and IRL stuff kept me home last minute. Mark my words, Sharper. One day we will sit down face to face, and we will have our 10-2 showdown, and it will be epic. Maybe next year? Kappa. Shoutouts to my other X2 peeps. GL on your runs later in the week. Now sing! We also do have a $10 donation from Paul R., who says, loving the event so far. Put this toward naming Maxim in Lufa 2 Minim. That's clever. We do have a $100 donation from Gar, who says, hello. And a $10 donation from Trip, who says, 10-2 hype. I hope this run gets to the juicy bits. Judging by the donation incentives we've met, I think you're in for a treat. By the way, I do appreciate the donation incentives that spell out 10-2 as TEN, because my brain tries to read it as X2 otherwise. You've made this host's job much easier. The National Alliance on Mental Illness's current work is informed by more than 40 years of inspiring conversation, support, and action that strengthens communities and empowers people to thrive and overcome their mental challenges. NAMI draw on their past accomplishments, the wisdom of lived experience, and current scientific understanding of mental health to help those who need it. Real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to the incredibly talented artists who help make this all work. RPG Limit Break is grateful to LLK, a longtime marathon contributor and the designer of our promo badges, attendee badges, and emotes. Check out her work at jazzaboo.com. That's JAZAABOO.com. We're also very thankful to Oro, who designed our marathon layout. You can find him on Twitter at Orolen. That's OUROLEN. Additionally, we are very grateful for Mega Weasel and It's Casa, who are responsible for some of the emotes that you gain access to by subscribing to the channel. All revenue from subs and the ads we run will go to helping us run future RPG Limit Break marathons. But fret not, 100% of all marathon donations go straight to NAMI.